Assalamualaikum and hello. My name is Siti Aisyah Burhanuddin and I am a co-author of the article titled Mekanisme for the Enforcement of Unauthorized Matrimonial Marriage for Muslims, a study at the Sharia Enforcement Division, Department of Islamic Religion in the state of Johor. In the state of Johor, the Sharia Enforcement Division consistently undertakes major initiatives to ensure that offences related to unauthorized marriage are dealt with more strictly according to the outlined procedures. This is because there are still numerous offences committed by individuals who claim to be unaware or have a poor understanding of Sharia law and regulations. It is also undeniable that some offenders perceive the fines imposed for these offences as relatively lenient. Besides that, the enforcement of unauthorized marriage offences is less debated in terms of implementation procedures, mainly because the concept of implementation is considered simpler compared to more complex criminal cases. Religious enforcement officer in the state of Johor must take more competent steps in enforcing this offence in a relevant manner according to jurisdictions, guidelines, and mechanisms established. So, this qualitative study employs library documentation methods to gather information on the enforcement of matrimonial offences. It also incorporates semi-structured interviews with 2 Sharia enforcement officers and 1 Sharia prosecutor to collect detailed data on enforcement mechanisms, which are then analyzed through content analysis. The study determined that the enforcement of unauthorized marriage is consistent with the concept of hisbah in its administration. It identified 3 key guidelines that govern the duties of Islamic religious enforcement officers. These include: first, the Code of Ethics for Religious Enforcement Officer of the State Department of Islamic Religion 2019, which outlined the ethical standards that enforcement officer must adhere to. Second, the instructions of the Director of the State Department of Islamic Religion 2007, which generally encompasses regulations pertaining to Act, Ordinance, and Sharia criminal procedure enactment. And third, the operating procedure standards of the Johor Islamic Religious Council, specifically drafted by the Johor Islamic Religious Council to detail the sources of authority for each unit involved, including administrations, operations, and investigations. Additionally, the study identified 4 primary mechanisms employed to enforce unauthorized marriage offences, such as accepting complaints, conducting investigations, examining witnesses, and performing searches. In summary, every complaint received must be officially documented, including the time, date, and signature of the informant. Specific documents related to the accused person must be included in the complaint report. The investigation process will commence 14 days after the submission of the accused person documents. The investigation will address the main question concerning the accused person. Religious enforcement officers are authorized to record all facts of the investigation in the case file. The investigation report is similar to criminal cases and includes an investigation diary, implementation of investigation papers, detailed content of investigation papers, and minute with instruction, supervision, and case details. But religious enforcement officers have the authority to summon anyone who may provide information about an offense and can issue a warrant for those who refuse to cooperate. In cases of unauthorized marriage, witnesses may include individuals with knowledge of the invalid marriage contract. Finally, religious enforcement officers under written orders are empowered to conduct searches for documents or other items at specified location if necessary. Searches related to unauthorized marriage offences are carried out at the residence of marriage venue indicated by the accused person and to provide evidence. So, the study concluded that the enforcement of unauthorized marriage offences by the Sharia Enforcement Division in Johor is well organized and systematic. Nevertheless, there are significant constraints in enforcing unauthorized marriage cases, including jurisdictional limits, the scope of religious enforcement officers' duties, and issues like false declaration by offenders. Consequently, senior officials in the Sharia Enforcement Division need to address these issues to maintain the effectiveness of enforcement mechanisms. Recommendations include developing standardized guidelines for Sharia enforcement officers regarding matrimonial offenses across states, collaborating with the police, such as tightening border controls, and increasing penalties for unauthorized marriage, as current penalties may not sufficiently deter offenders. Then, the study aims to raise awareness and provide valuable insight to various stakeholders, including Sharia legal institutions, to improve their practice in line with established guidelines and mechanisms. The public is also encouraged to deepen their understanding of matrimonial offense enforcement, often overlooked, to clarify any doubts about the expertise of religious enforcement officers. As the author of this article, I invite anyone interested in learning more about the study to read the full article, which is available in the August 2024 issue, Volume 12, Number 2 of the Malaysian Journal of Sharia Law, University Science Islam Malaysia. The page numbers and DOI are listed at the bottom of the video. That's all from me and thank you.